What was probably the hardest thing about starting to lose weight?
Thinking that you're worth it. Most of my life, I always thought it was less than.
Okay.
I was never good enough. I was a good guy.
Mm-hmm.
I was always a good guy. Everybody said they loved Mark. He was such a great guy. Nobody wanted to date me because I wasn't the badass. I wasn't the bad boy.
Okay.
I could do 10 things right, and most of my friends and the people I did date, pointed out the things that I did wrong instead of things I did right.
Okay.
So it was tough. I was always compared to somebody, and I was never quite good enough. Back then, I was called fat ass, four eyes. When I asked a couple of women on dates, the one made the signal like they were barfing, and the other one was like, you're disgusting. I would never go out with somebody like you.
Wow. It's tough. So, what do you think sparked your interest in weight loss the most?
Children. It's amazing when you get perspective and you start to value yourself. It was when my little girl come running up to me and jumped on my shoulders and said, "I love you, Daddy." And that completely changed everything about what I did and why I did it.
Specific story, maybe. You felt like, this is too much. And how did you get past that?
Losing weight wasn't god-awful difficult. It was easy attaining it and keeping it until the time came when my marriage started to disintegrate. And before you know it, the depression really started to hit. And it gets like that. It becomes this slippery slope where once you start sliding down, it's like you can't get a grip and you can't come back up. And I wound up falling quite a bit. I wound up gaining a lot of weight. I could start to feel it. It's like I was lethargic. I would wind up with more and more headaches. And I just kind of tossed it off to, I'm going through a shitty divorce. I'm on my own, first time in my life that I'm all by myself. And so all those things kind of played a role in it.
So how'd you get through that? Did you start dating?
When things went south with my marriage, I wound up asking her. I said, even though I'm several years older, would you be willing to go on a date with an old guy like me? And she said, yeah. And so we went on a date. And in that period of time, a lot of our dates were we'd go out, we'd go to a club or something, but we'd wind up at either Melrose or we'd wind up at IHOP on the north side, and we'd sit there literally for 5 hours just talking about life. I would talk about things that are going on in my life, and we'd talk about things that was going on in her life, and basically she built me up. It just so happens that she's my wife.
What do you say to your students who you see struggling?
A lot of it you have to kind of figure out where they're at. You have to meet students where their emotions and their brain is at. Even though I'd love to see them understand the value, if they're hurting, if they don't think they're worth something, it's going to be hard to motivate them. So part of it is to build them up to the point where it's like, look, you are a worthwhile person. You bring a lot to the table. You're unique. And that's the thing that I try to point out to everybody. There is debate about how long the universe has been in existence, but while it's been in existence, there's never been an accumulation of cells like you ever in the history of time. And there will never be an accumulation. And anytime you have something that's a one of a kind, it's considered priceless.
So why do you push kids so hard? You keep saying life a lot, and the failures you face in life. Not nothing to do with physical activity.
It has everything to do with physical activity.
Okay.
There is a direct correlation to life and physical activity. There's no difference. And I always tell students, if you come in here and you're a candy ass, you run away because it hurts or because it's hard, I promise you do the same thing in every one of your classes that's challenging. And every time you face something in life, whether it's career or relationship or otherwise, you run away. Because that's the modus operandi. That's what you do. And by sitting here in fitness and saying, this is hard and I'm going to get comfortable with the uncomfortable zone because I don't want an uncomfortable zone. I'm going to conquer. And when you get that mentality outside in life, you start having that mentality. It's okay to go to the uncomfortable zone. Give me a situation where I don't feel good. I'm going to thrive because I can do that. I've demonstrated that over and over and over again. And that's the value of it. There is a definite correlation. This is not for jocks. This is for life. This is to learn how to care for yourself, to love yourself, to push yourself, to develop all the skills that you need to be able to survive in life.